I think now we have some time for the questions, and then I would ask Jon to be quite short and concise, bearing in mind that then at the end we will have the panel discussion, so he can come back to explore more in detail some questions. So the first one would be, in the case of Nigeria that you explored, the absence of a conducive regulatory framework was mentioned. So what would be the elements of such a framework, and also which are, according to your experience while working on the Nigeria case, those that should be addressed with the utmost urgency? Thank you. Over to you, Jon.
Thank you, Bianca. Very briefly, some of the issues that were highlighted was the fact that in 2013, the Nigerian government basically gave regulatory monopoly of the insurance industry to the Nigerian Agriculture Insurance Corporation. Actually, sorry, that was lifted in 2013. Until then, there'd been a monopoly. And obviously, with a monopoly, the incentive for private insurance companies and reinsurers to engage is somewhat limited. So it's a question of government changes to open up the market to encourage a greater diversity of insurance actors. There was also an insurance law dating back to 2003, which stipulated that only under exceptional circumstances could any reinsurance or insurance be placed outside of Nigeria, which again, the way that index insurance works with the importance of reinsurers, who are mostly international, can be a disincentive for those key actors to engage. It's very much in the hands of the Nigerian government to decide which priorities should be addressed vis-a-vis that regulatory environment, and I'm sure the ministry is acting on those, but certainly we highlighted some issues that would be needed in order to make the playing field an attractive one for a host of public and private sector actors.
Okay, thank you very much, Jon, for this answer. I would have time actually to go for another one, and it's a very interesting one, in fact, and it comes from the audience. And so the question would be, how do we ensure that index insurance and related tools are designed with the end user? So how we can bear in mind that small-scale food producers should be central in the design of index-based insurance program? Over to you, Jon.
Very good question and highly relevant. And at the beginning of my presentation, I stressed that one of the challenges was taking on board the farming communities and their needs, the end users. And a great deal of work is being done. I collaborate on this research project, as I mentioned at the beginning, with colleagues at Columbia University in the US who have a lot of experience of experimental games which they carry out with farming communities, not just to explain what at times can come across as quite complex issues around index insurance, but really what the needs of those farmers are. And again, this for me as an agricultural researcher who's spent a lot of time working at the field level, this is one of the beauties, the joys of the coming together of different actors in the design of index insurance, that there are a lot of researchers, people in the NGO community, seed suppliers, who can, if farmers are not able to articulate directly what their needs are, there are a lot of people quite aware of the challenges facing different sorts of smallholder communities, because smallholders are not a homogeneous group. But I agree, it is a challenge to design an index product which really addresses farmers' needs and is communicated. And of course, we don't want to fall into the trap, which has unfortunately been the case with a lot of agricultural work, where it tends to be very supply driven, where we think we have a fantastic product, but we're not actually addressing the key demands. So a lot of work's going on, and a lot of people are well aware that that's a challenge that we are seeking to deal with, but there's always more and better things that we can do.
Thank you very much, Jon, for highlighting this mismatch, I would say, between supply and demand of index-based insurance products. Then probably we will come back to this later on.